Everybody's mics are on. We'll call the meeting to order. If you please rise and join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance I want to welcome everybody here tonight. It's nice to see a large group here. Have we got any need for translation tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to the next. I need approval of the agenda, but I need it with an amendment to add a document to the required approvals.
I motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
And I'll second to approve that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So approved. Now we're going to start off with recognition.
Yeah, I'd like to invite Christina Benjamin forward. Christina's principal at Ludicaga Elementary for a recognition of a courageous student.
Thank you, Superintendent Perez, President Johnson, members of the board. Today, you guys know me as the proud principal of Ludicaga Elementary School. However, I get to stand here as a proud administrator of the Othello School District because about a month ago, while we were at school in session at Ludicaga, we noticed across the street a fire hazard happening in one of the apartment complexes that we were able to call for support and get immediate assistance for. However, during that intermediate time, we were able to support some families and some young children out of that building, and not doing it alone. We did it with the help of one of the young students in our school district, and I'd like to invite Josiah Gomez up with me. So Josiah was instrumental in this because during that intermediate time, he sprung into action. Knowing that there was a potential danger, he called the authorities. He helped us call the authorities, right? Yeah. He made sure that somebody was on the phone with us or with the authorities. And then he went to his own apartment, or I think maybe your grandmother's? No, it was ours. Your own apartment, to get a fire extinguisher and then go into the house to see what we could do. Apparently, we know we don't want to go into danger that is immediate, so he did make sure that it was all clear and safe for him to enter before going in. He was able to really help de-escalate a potential serious issue, as well as stay calm in that situation. So when we think about our Othello students, we want to make sure that we recognize courageousness as well. As well as thinking about what our kids do when they put together problematic situations, assessing the problem, making a plan, communicating it, and implementing it. So Josiah, thank you very much for your courageous activity for our Othello School District.
Do you want to take a picture with him? Want to take a picture with him?
Yes. Yeah.
Probably right up front here.
You ready, bud? Okay, I'm going to take a few. Got it. Thank you.
With that, we will go on to student representative reports.
So the past week, on April 18th, we had our Cookies for Convo here at OHS. It went really well. We got so much feedback from tons of students. Some of the student feedbacks that we've gotten, the most common ones that I've heard, was that there was a problem with the school food not being too well, and it was causing issues for people after they eat, as well as Smart Pass is our digital hall passes during the day. So students get 2 hall passes with a 5-minute time limit. But students were saying that it was kind of hard to walk across campus, saying like if one of the bathrooms were open or something was, if there's an issue, they had to walk across campus just to go to the bathroom, and that was not enough time. And as well as not having enough passes throughout the day. Other top issue was a longer lunch. Kids felt like there was not enough time to eat, so they have to rush ordering or rush to eat, and causing them to show up to school late. That was one of the issues from student feedback. So I'd like to pass it down to Sebastian, talking about our next future steps from here.
Yeah. Well, going off what Katie said, we noticed a lot of similarities between us and the board members based on the feedback we received from students. I mainly got the same thing as Katie as well, but one of the most complaints that we got was about school lunch, about how they need to have more rotations, because sometimes the main options were limited, and when students reach the line coming all the way from the AG building, which is far away from the lunchroom, they sort of get the last options. But from here, we started organizing meetings with our principal, Mrs. Atchison. A huge thank you to her. And from there, we'll see if we can meet with administrators to see if we could come up with alternatives or solutions to better benefit our students. And we're also thinking of possibly incorporating Student Square to our benefit, to have it as a main source of communication between the student reps and the students of Othello High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, from there, we will go to board member discussion. Aaron, do you have a legislative report?
No legislative report this week. The session is closed. But when we do talk about the things we learned about in the conference, we'll be talking about some of the legislative stuff.
Okay, thank you. Next thing is Certificated Staff Appreciation Roadshow sign-up. That will be May 6th to the 10th. So, Pete, is that going to be pretty much what we did in the past?
Exactly, yeah, the same experience we had last year, but for our new board members, there'll be a sign-up sheet that goes around. We can share that with you digitally and then see which days you're available that week. And we can get that out this evening to you. And just check your calendar and sign up on that sheet. Reach out to me or Mrs. Garza, and we can help you with that as well.
We went around and served them lunch last year, cooked for them, and then served them lunch. Okay. Avid Awards Banquet Invitation, that is May 6th. Is there any board members that will be attending that? It's at 6:30.
I'll try to make that.
I can't make that
I can't make it either.
one. Okay,
I can be there.
okay. And if one of you two could not make it, just let me know, and then I will make it. Okay? Now it's our turn to debrief on the cookies and combo.
Yeah, I can go first. First of all, I want to thank Katie and Sebastian for setting that up for us. It was a lot of fun. We went to the high school and they set up some tables for us, and we had a bunch of cookies on the table. And if the students came and asked us a question or filed a complaint or told us something they liked, and really any comments, then they would get a cookie. And we learned that cookies are a great incentive for high school students, though there were some that came and looked at us and went, "That's not worth it," and just left. But we heard a lot of the same stuff that Katie and Sebastian were talking about, things about lunch. They felt lunches weren't too long and weren't long enough. They talked about the smart passes. They talked about, if certain doors are locked after school so they can't get back to where they need to be, things with attendance. So it was really helpful to hear straight from the kids and some of those concerns. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. The other thing I noticed, it was very informative to actually explain what the school board does, because there was a lot of students that didn't understand why we were there, what we do. So I found it very informative on that end of it, just to explain to the students what the school board does and how the process works. So I think it was beneficial that way. And then other than that, all the suggestions they announced earlier and all good ones. And I had one student ask, why doesn't the school have solar panels? And I thought that was a very good question, and we'll have to definitely look into that. But very informative. So I enjoyed it.
Say, I thoroughly enjoyed it also. It's about my third one that I've got to do, and the questions are different every time. It was nice explaining. Like I said, there was a lot of students that didn't know what the school board did or what we do, and it was nice explaining that. One of the questions I asked quite frequently, it was about the kids' safety. And everyone that I talked to said that they felt safe in our schools now. I noticed the high school, they had to buzz in through the front door and stuff too. And there was actually no complaints to me from the students about having to do that, because they kind of understood why we were doing that, to create a safer atmosphere for them. So it was nice to hear that from the students too.
For me, it was just getting a chance to talk to the kids, listening to some of their stories, some of their questions about us, about their teachers. But no, it was, it sure helped us figure out what some of their needs are and to help get those maybe met or at least look into them. So it was good.
Great. Any more discussion on that?
Before we close it, I'd just like to express my gratitude for all the board members. We couldn't have done Cookies for Combo without the support of you guys, and thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you for doing that and arranging it and setting it all up. Okay, we're going to go on to the required approvals. Do I have a motion for the required approvals?
I
can-
motion to approve the required approvals.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. Then now we'll go on to superintendent informational items.
Yeah, just a couple items for tonight, but one is maybe more interesting than the other. We have a special group of students here with us tonight from the MMS robotics team. And before I introduce them, I want to connect it to a couple of things we've just seen. You had a student who saw an issue that needed to be taken care of, rushed in, made sure we were on the phone, keeping people safe, advocating for the situation and making sure everyone's safe. You hear Katie and Sebastian advocating for their classmates and the students at Othello High School saying, this is what we heard. We're going to talk to our principal. We're going to talk to the board. We want to advocate for a better experience for everyone. You're going to hear a little bit of a different advocacy, but what excites me about the three different examples is those are being an advocate for yourself and for others are one of the key dispositions in the graduate profile that we've been working on for a number of years. So it's really exciting to see our students doing that kind of work. And tonight you're going to hear from a group of kids who are advocating for an experience that they're interested in having. And so we're going to invite them forward to share their story.
Once again, I have a sleeping toddler. So I've met all of you before. I'm Devin Lewis. I'm one of our McFarland Middle School teachers, and I'm our CTE teacher. And part of CTEs, we have what's called a CTSO, Career and Technical Student Organization.
Would one of you hold the mic for Ms. Lewis? Because
I stand over here.
yeah.
I just wasn't doing
just the
very
folks
well.
online will have difficulty hearing you.
Right. So our CTSO is TSA, Technology Student Association, and it is a national organization. There's a pamphlet in there for you. And we actually attended, this is our very first year, and we attended state this year, and our students actually got a bid for nationals. And so our students were 4th place. This is my robotics team. They all competed at the state level, and they got 4th and 6th place. We've decided that we want to take them to nationals. The rules state that the team, no school can take more than 2 teams. And so Walouk got all 3 top spots. We got 4th, and that means we got that 3rd spot to nationals if we wanted. We had a great meeting with Superintendent Perez as well as the principals, and they were all on board. They want our kids to go. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of funding, actually no funding left in the CTE budget for the year. And so we're kind of requesting, I'll say, last minute emergency, allowing us to fundraise within the district. You can see a list of fundraisers on the, I don't remember which page. I think it's right in the middle page of that first pamphlet that I made today. The boys are putting on a mother-child dance this Friday from 6:30 to 8:30 at McFarland. The Rowley Farm, one of our students' dads, is willing to let us fundraise using their farm, as well as the boys want to put on a, what was it? Potato feed. All their own ideas. And we have extremely wonderful parents who are all very supportive and want to help out, and they know that they've basically put themselves out there and said whatever's left, the parents have to put forth. So we're looking right now at about $8,000 left that we need to take all 5 of these gentlemen, well, not Brendan, but we're missing one today, Milo, to Orlando in June. And so they brought their robot. They actually built this robot. They'll tell me, actually, I will let them tell you about their robot. Since I can't. Whoever's gonna.
All right, hello, Good. Okay.
You can take the mic out and just hold it. That might be easier for you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ethan Wilhelm, and I was part of the 7th grade TSA group that got 4th place, and this isn't the original bot that we used, but we are building a new bot to go to state, or to go to nationals, because the one that we took to state, we didn't feel like it was ready to go to nationals. So we have, yeah, so we got some ideas from the other bots that we saw and competed in state, and we started to put them in together, and this is all we have so far.
They spent like 4 hours on Saturday in my classroom working on their robot.
Yeah. So it's not fully functional yet, but we could show you what it does.
So currently our robot is able to drive, and it has the main collection system. The arm is currently not functioning because we noticed that it started bending some of the pieces. So last minute, I started to rip it apart. I did not know it was going to be here. So currently it has the collection system and the drive. You can see the arm wants to move. It is not connected. So the main purpose of the bot, so what it is meant to do is to pick up these green blocks here. And so how it does that, it grabs them in and pulls them in, and then when it puts them in the scoring area, it just pushes them out into it.
Any questions?
So, I do. How long did it take you guys to put the bot together? The original bot, obviously. So do each one of you guys have a certain thing that you do on the bot, or do you guys all tackle it together?
So we all have like different parts to like deal with the bot. So mine is the driver, Lincoln as well is the driver.
I'm the mechanic, so I fix everything that's kind of like broken, and I also organize our boxes that hold all of the pieces. And
I do all the coding for the bot, so.
And me and Ethan have built the mainframe, and then just mainly because we've had the most time in it. But on Saturday, everyone was working, and it helped it go so much faster.
So how much more time do you guys need on that bot to get it ready for nationals?
Probably 2-3 hours. And then a lot of practice driving and strategy.
I imagine the coding is the hard part on it, or trying to code it?
Kinda. It's mostly just putting together the functions, but
You make it sound way too easy.
When you guys go to nationals, is it a competition? You compete against other schools doing the exact same thing, and then it's a timed event, or how does it? When you're at the nationals and it's the best of the best, what are you competing for?
So there's a board that you drive around and you collect 3 different size blocks, and you put it in scoring bins around the thing, and that's how you get points. And from my understanding, you have a partner sometimes to help you do that, and then you get points, and it is with all of the different schools that are there, and then whoever has the highest point wins.
There's 2 different kinds of challenges. They have their driving challenges that they do by themselves on the floor, and then they can also do teamwork challenges, which is coding, and they do that with another team at nationals, and they don't know who that's going to be.
How many teams will be showing up to nationals?
No clue. Well, this is a nationwide thing, so
Oh,
I think
there you go.
there can be 3 from every state, so 150 at minimum.
Lots of teams.
Maximum, I guess, maximum.
I mean, I'm betting 3 from each state.
Where's nationals again?
Orlando,
Orlando. Okay.
June 25th through 30th.
So how can we help? Or-
Need approval to do fundraising.
Okay.
That's the big one. And then if you happen to know anyone that would like to donate, that'd be great.
Okay.
We have a GoFundMe that's on the McFarland website. It's also on the back of that pamphlet I gave you guys today.
So just a bit of context for the board. Wonderful presentation, by the way. Appreciate you guys sharing that so clearly, and that sense of team that you described is what these activities are about. For the board, thinking about how we help these guys. School district funding is complex, right? Approving fundraisers, those kinds of things. Our typical practice in Othello has been for clubs and activities. We support everyone through the state level. And then when it moved on to nationals, we typically haven't supported those kinds of events. This is a brand new club, something that's just getting off the ground. We wanted to give it some airtime and some publicity with you and with others watching to see if it can get some momentum. But that's the reason why it's just been our practice not to fund those things. So I think just the fact that they're here tonight to speak with you and share their story, and if you give them the green light to go out and fundraise maybe a little more aggressively, knowing that the district's in support of that, I think that's what they're looking for.
I think this is a great opportunity, especially where this is a new program and you guys have qualified for the nationals already. You guys got a great future in front of you.
And 3 of the students will actually go to the high school next year, and the high school also has a TSA program so that they can actually follow this through high school. I know Ethan wants to run eventually for one of the state officer positions, and really follow this through their senior year of high school. There's scholarship opportunities and a lot more networking opportunities out there.
So do we need a formal vote on this or just a consensus of the board?
Well, let's just get a consensus right now, and then I'll work with Marisa and with Mrs. Lewis and maybe with Amy Paris and Carlos Gonzalez, the principal. But I think if you just nod your heads and smile at them and at me, we'll know that we can press on and probably reach out to Jackie is still back there. Yeah, you and I can probably connect tomorrow, and then we can talk about some next steps. Okay.
And if you have any questions, my phone number and my email address are on the back of that pamphlet as well.
Well, please let us know when you're doing your fundraisers and you're
Yes.
selling stuff from Raleigh Farms, all the things. Let us know so that we can help participate.
Can I point out, we are doing another fundraiser. We are partnering, hi everybody, I'm Jackie Wilhelm. I'm Ethan's mom. I've kind of been one of the first parents to be like, okay, what's it gonna take? And let's start putting things in motion. So one of the options we came up with is we are partnering with iDesign from here. It's an Othello business. And she is donating shirts for the boys to wear at TSA. And we came up with a fundraiser for businesses to donate $250 for the boys, and their logo would go on their t-shirts. And we came up, Ethan and I came up with a design that we would print kind of the silhouette of the United States and show Othello, Washington, and then going to Orlando, Florida, and then thanking the sponsors on the back. So that is one of the options that we are working on right now. And iDesign was so gracious to say, hey, I will make shirts for the team, and that way they can represent Othello on their, on their big adventure to Orlando, Florida. So yeah, that's one of the things that we're doing amongst a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Yes, anything we can.
Great.
Yes. Good to know, good to know.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, and congratulations.
Yes,
Yes.
congratulations. Great job.
Do I just pop it in? Slide down.
With that, we will go to the Scootney Springs Elementary School report.
All right, I'm really nervous about this mic because my fear almost lived out right there. Maybe I'll just take it off too. Well, good evening, and thank you for having us. My name is Denise Merich, and I'm the principal at Scootney Springs Elementary. Before we get started with our presentation, thank you. I wanted to do a shout out to the MMS. That was really exciting to see a robotics club and how well they've done, yes. A few years ago, we changed our technology specials to do more coding, even in the lower grade levels, all the way up. So it's really exciting to see that transfer of knowledge and how it's continuing into the middle school and how successful they've been. So great job, and I'm super excited for our middle school friends, and I hope that they do well. So to start this, I wanted to thank the board for coming to Scootney last Monday. And I'm really sorry that Director Praneta and Director Baginski, that we missed you, but I'm hoping at some point you'll have an opportunity to come to Scootney and see the work in motion. But today we're really going to talk about the initiatives and what our focus has been. So if you'll see on the slide deck that we have 3 areas which are the same as the district. It's PLC, feedback, and ML learning. And so with PLC, we're going to talk about our weekly data meetings and teacher clarity. With feedback, we had a systems change and a feedback tool, and our ML students, we've really focused on our data meetings and dedicated target groups. How do I advance this? There you go. So I'm going to start with the PLCs, and we've really been focused on the weekly data meetings. But to understand that, we need to go back a little bit and talk about the Driven by Data process. So the Driven by Data process is a system that we're putting into place and building structures around. The first, I guess, piece of it is the grade teams have to come together and they create an assessment. So they think about all of the standards that they have taught within a 6 to 8 week period, and then they create an assessment. After they create that assessment, then they actually go in as a student and take that assessment, thinking through what are the skills and the understandings that a student would have to be able to be successful with each question. Then after they do that, they get together and they look at the standard. They think about the questions that they just had to answer and what are the overarching understandings that the students have to know, and what are the skills to be successful. After they go through and they make that list because it's actually like a running list of what they need to do. Then they create an exemplar. Like, if a student does this, they will be successful. And what's really great is when, so on grade teams, we have 4 teachers, and when they take it individually, they come up with different ways or different ideas. And so the teachers are able to have those exemplars to think through different ways that kids could attack, or they could like think about how to tackle the problems. So this has been about a 3-year journey for us. We started really big and global, where we created 3 assessments in reading and math for every grade level. The students took the tests about between 6 and 8 weeks into the school year, and then every about 8 weeks, they took another assessment. Those were our big data meetings. And the first year was the admin team, or the learning team, ran those meetings while we were putting the processes and refining them. Last year, we really turned that over to our grade chairs, our team leaders, and they started running those big data meetings. And the end goal, when we went through, we analyzed questions, we analyzed the standards, but really the goal of those data meetings is to make that data actionable and create like a reteach plan. So where did the kids do well? Where are they still struggling? And how are we going to help them? And so we would create these 6 or 8 week reteach plans. But what we found out is that we weren't necessarily being responsive in the moment. And teachers would get 2 or 3 weeks in, and the plan didn't necessarily work because we were predicting what the students were going to do. So this week we changed our focus for PLCs to be weekly data meetings. So in our big data meetings, we would create a plan for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, and then plan how are we going to reassess. And then during the PLCs, they look at the data, and they refocus on the standard. Then they create a gap analysis. Like, this is what the students need to be able to do. This is what they're doing. How do we figure out, like, in their learning, where is that breakdown? And so then we create a reteach plan, again, for the next week or 2, and then we continue in this cycle to where we're being more responsive to students in the moment. So we can sit here and we can talk about the process, but the real power comes from listening to those who are leading these meetings. And so we invited some of our teachers to come and present. And there were some conflicts, so we said, well, or you could do a video, but we still need to hear your voice, and they definitely opted for the video. So I'm hoping that you can...
Hi, I'm Sandra Garza. I teach 2nd grade here at Scootney.
And I'm Shelly Autumn, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at Scootney.
We're going to discuss our PLC weekly data meetings, our reteach plans, and just share kind of our experience this year.
Can you explain the process in implementing weekly reteach plans as part of the Driven by Data process?
Well, this year, that has been at least 5th grade's focus, is to take our reteach plans from being a whole unit into being more responsive to kids week by week and how they're doing in our core subjects of math and ELA. And so we've been working on the Driven by Data process and doing that in a way that implements high leverage strategies and targets the kids who are not at grade level yet for whichever particular standard we're focusing on.
The same with 2nd grade. We meet with our admin during our data meeting, and then we focus on a standard that we need to work on with the kids. And then we do our weekly data meetings and look at our kids every week and discuss any kind of instructional approaches that we need to use, and make sure that they are working effectively looking at our data.
How has the collaboration in PLC evolved or improved as a result of focusing on data-driven instruction and creating reteach plans based on student data?
So in 2nd grade, I feel that we have every week a purpose, and we are collaboratively working together. to come up with a plan and discuss instructional approaches of what works best for our kids. I feel like it's just more intentional, and we are looking at specific students every week. And our team is all on the same page. We are working collaboratively, and we are helping all of our second grade kiddos.
I agree with Sandra. Fifth grade has had a similar experience. I think that having the clear purpose in our meeting has been the biggest change. We're not treating it as a planning time, but the planning that we're doing is so specific for what our kids need at the moment that we're having really intentional choices being made that are leading to really specific outcomes.
How has implementing data-driven instruction and weekly data meetings impacted student outcomes?
I would say that the students who we know are not at grade level and that we are implementing specific strategies with, we're able to get real-time information as to where the gaps are in their understanding, and then we're able to backfill those gaps and see if those strategies are helping or not, which allows us to really create individualized education for each of our kids, but also make sure that all of our students have the opportunity to get what they need in the moment as we're going through a standard as a grade level.
Yeah. And looking at our exit tickets every week helps us decide what is our approach is working. Do we need to change something? It's good feedback for our team and to really hone in our students' needs and what we need to work on.
Can you share examples of specific instructional strategies that have been successful in targeting student needs and boosting their confidence and achievement levels?
So different specific strategies that we've been using in second grade. We do a lot of hands-on tools and a lot of hands-on activities, games, things that are going to be helpful for students and they're going to be successful and are effective. But also looking at those exit tickets and giving the students immediate feedback and letting them know where they're at and knowing what they still need to work on. If they didn't get it this week, then possibly the following week. And so just doing that immediate feedback.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And another thing that I've noticed about this process is we have been breaking the standards down into more discrete slices, which allows us and the students to have more understanding of what they're being asked to do overall. And as we do that, we're finding that we need to do more hands-on activities for math, for example. So we recently did a reteach plan on volume, and we were having all the kids, build their models, and then the ones who needed to do that more continued to do that while others moved on to paper pencil. So the kids are getting what they need in the moment, and that's allowing for all of us to know what the next step is in their learning.
So before we move on, I want to do a really big shout out because this is a process that's very different at Scootney, and all of the teachers have been working really hard to make sure that this work gets done. But I really want to send a big shout out to our leaders of the teams, our grade chairs. They have taken on the responsibility for leading this. There are only 3 of us, and we can't be in every grade level every week. And so we've done a lot of learning in our leadership meetings about how to run these data meetings. And they've really taken it on, and they have done a great job. And this, it's been a heavy lift, and it's been a lot of work, but they are seeing in the data, they are seeing that it works, and so they really do feel like they are empowered.
Can I ask a quick question before we move on? Yeah. In the video, she mentioned exit tickets. Is that right? What are those?
So exit tickets are a quick assessment. So they've been learning a standard. It might be 1 or 2 or 3 problems just to check their understanding. So when we take an interim, it's like maybe 25 to 35 questions potentially, but this is just a quick check to see what can the students do now. And then they look at what are the errors and the misconceptions, and then they build the next reteach.
And that's weekly?
That's weekly, yep. Sometimes they, they might alternate ELA and math, so it might be a 2-week plan, but then they're giving those exit tickets to check in on the students, like what is their understanding now, where's that gap, and how do we help them?
Okay, my name is Eliza Fish, and I am new to the Othello School District this year as the assistant principal at Scootney. And I am going to speak to our feedback system. And when we talk about feedback, we're talking about the feedback that Denise and I as administrators give to teachers about their practice in the classroom. So for the year, we had 3 kind of main goals. And the first goal was to be present out and about in the school. So we have made a very conscious decision to put it on our calendars. And our commitment was to be in every classroom at least once a week, each of us. So that just being out and about, that really forced us to pull ourselves out of the office and get out into the classrooms with the students and the teachers. After being in the classroom, we provide feedback back to the teachers about what we saw in the classroom. We try to make that feedback very specific about what we saw. We make it timely so that within 24 hours or so, they're hearing back from us about what we saw. And our feedback, the goal is to improve instruction in the classroom. At the beginning of the year, we felt that it was pretty one-sided. We would give feedback and we didn't hear much back from the teachers. So we worked really hard to let teachers know that we wanted this to be a 2-way communication, that we didn't just want to talk at them, but we wanted to have conversations and hear back from them, have conversations about what could be changed, what could be different. And as the school year has gone on, that has really changed and improved, where we'll send a piece of feedback to our teachers, and within the day, either they're popping into the office to have a conversation, or they're responding over email and asking more questions, wanting to have more conversation with us. So that has been a really positive shift. And then the third goal has been to just build those relationships, to build a really trusting relationship with teachers to where they're open, they want us in their classroom, they want to have those conversations. And not only are we building those relationships with the teachers, but by being in the classrooms, we're also building relationships with kids so that it's normal for them to see us in and out of their classroom, just being very visible. So far this year, we have had over 800 pieces of feedback shared with teachers. So we're really, it's working. We're seeing a change in our relationships with teachers and a change in the openness that they want to have those conversations. They look forward to seeing us in the classroom. So we have another little video clip with some teachers talking about how our feedback has changed their instruction.
I'm Lynette Rackham. I teach 6th grade at Scootney, ELA, and social studies.
I'm Lisa Taylor. I teach 4th grade at Scootney, and we are here to talk about how feedback has affected us and impacted us as teachers and the outcome of our students in their learning.
How has feedback differed this year compared to previous years? How has this impacted your approach to instruction?
In the past, our feedback has been kind of twice a year at our evaluations, and then maybe once or twice a month. This year has been up to about once or twice a week between the 2 administrators. And for me, it has made me a little more thoughtful and reflective in my teaching practices, and kind of established that relationship to feel safe and vulnerable to share things and to ask questions and to improve my teaching.
This year has differed significantly for me in impact, in that I have felt very empowered by the feedback that I've received. It's been very specific and actionable, and has helped me to understand and know what admin is looking for when they come into my room. It doesn't feel like a gotcha. I know that they're looking for something specific, and know and trust that they value me as an educator. And the whole process has helped me to improve and be empowered.
How has frequent feedback affected the quality of teaching and student outcomes?
I feel that the frequency has increased and established that relationship and more of a collaborative team with teachers and administrators. Like I said, it kind of fosters that relationship of feeling safe and to try things. And they reiterate that we're all good teachers and that these are some little things we can work on to be better or to go from good to great.
And as for me, it has really helped to foster that trust that I have with my admin. And as we're working on certain skills, it's when they come in as frequently and I'm getting that constant feedback, it helps keep me accountable as the educator, and it helps to keep me driven and more focused on what my goals are and to improve those each time. And I've really appreciated how specific their feedback has been.
How has receiving feedback influenced your professional growth and reflective practice?
I feel that this year with the extra feedback and targeted and specific feedback, it has really pushed me to be a better teacher and to be more reflective on what I do, how I do it, why I do it. If it's not working, changing it. We kind of had that support to go see other teachers in the district, what they were doing, and not just copy what they're doing, but take it, make it our own at Scootney, make it work for us and our kids. And then they came in looking for specific things, and things were doing well, and just it helped me to kind of narrow things down and be really specific and to push my kids and put the learning on them.
So feedback has affected my my growth as an educator, in that in receiving that feedback that is really specific. One of the things that I received was about the questioning that I give to my students, and just really deepening the questioning to kind of drive my students to think a lot more and to kind of become more self-sufficient thinkers. And so as that's been something that we've been working on, it has helped me professionally to grow and to really understand what it is that my students need, and to also understand a lot of what they're capable.
I think it was capable of doing. I got cut off, so sorry.
Hello, my name is Tamar Lumsden, and I'm the instructional coach at Scootney Elementary. And I have the pleasure of speaking about our ML student focus. ML, it used to be called English Language Learners, so it's a new acronym this year, so it now means multilingual students. The school district's focus is on helping and supporting our ML students, and so we've done several steps in order to give that support. One of the first ones we did, I'm sorry the picture is so small, but it was a really tiny thing, but it was a powerful change. When we do the data meetings, we dig into the standards and we analyze those standards. There are also language standards. And so one of the very first things we did to change our practice this year was every time we have a data meeting, we pull up the WIDA standards and we find what's the standard for WIDA that matches the standard that the teachers chose as a focus for their kiddos. And then we go through a process where we make a list of what do the students need to know and what do they need to do to be successful. And we pull that information from the standard, but we also pull that information from the WIDA standard. So we combine those two things. So now we feel like we have a pretty comprehensive idea of what it is the kids need to do to be successful. Another change that we did was in the fall, we had a really powerful LID training on our teacher learning day. And during that LID training, we dove deep into the WIDA standards. It's kind of overwhelming. You get this huge binder with a spiral, it's like 2 inches thick. And if you hand that to a teacher and say, here you go, here are the magic language standards, it's a big document to digest. And so we spent the first half of the day really digging into it, understanding what those standards meant, how they were organized, analyzing some of them, and then we took that information and we pulled every single ML kid in our school and we gave the list and the proficiency levels to every teacher that attended. And we had brought pictures and we made a giant roadmap. So every teacher had a roadmap of every ML student in their class in the 4 domains, and they knew exactly what level they were at, and they could see exactly what's the next step to leverage learning for those kids, and we glued their pictures right on their levels. So that was kind of a cool tool for the teachers to be like, oh, this kiddo is a level 1 in speaking, but a level 4 in listening, so they might be hearing and understanding, but they're not able to tell me about it yet. So now what do I do to help them articulate that to me and to their peers? So that was a really powerful training. From that training, we had some wonderful discussions, and we have 2 staff members that are just on fire to make the WIDA assessment items more relevant to students. And so what they did, as part of the training, all of us sat down and took the WIDA test just so we would understand what are our kids being asked to do. And these 2 staff members sat down together and they came up with this idea. What if we took the format, the way kids are going to be asked to speak about these topics of math and social studies and science, what if we took that and we applied it into our content areas and we created authentic experiences for them to practice how this format works, but we do it with the actual novel that the students are studying, or we do it with the actual social studies text. So the kids aren't having to be exposed to one more thing. It's actually incorporated into the standards that they're already needing to learn to meet the grade level expectancies. And so we're really excited. The WIDA scores should be coming out pretty soon, and the kids had some really good authentic learning around that. And so we're excited to see how that impacted their learning and excited to grow that out. I think we're ready for our video, so our teachers can explain a little bit more about that process.
This year, we've really been intentional during our data meetings and weekly data meetings to be focused on the WIDA standards so that we can have them more present in our minds as we're thinking about those kids that need that extra support.
In regards to WIDA, one of the things we've been super intentional about at Scootney this year is providing students with authentic opportunities to practice the WIDA test in the same format that they will be exposed to during the WIDA
Practice, a speaking practice. It looks exactly like the WIDA. All I want you to do is practice using complete sentences, practice our note-taking strategies, take notes of what you're hearing from the teacher, what you're hearing from Nina, and then practice yourself. Remember,
choose extra recess because some kids can get tired of writing or doing activities all day. The second reason I believe they should do extra recess is because the kids sometimes need to just like let everything out.
A big focus and reason for creating this practice test was just to make them more comfortable and more confident with taking this form of test.
How did you feel about taking the WIDA this year?
This year I felt much more confident than last year.
Why is that?
I don't know, it's because last year I don't think I was ready, and I don't think I was like prepared for it.
Do you think practicing in class helped you?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel more confident for the WIDA test because last year I did it and I was nervous from last year, but now this year I feel more confident and more brave.
Which portion of the WIDA test did you feel most confident taking this year?
I think it was writing.
Why?
Because I did big sentences, I used all my capital letters and periods.
Being intentional has definitely paid off. We've seen our multilingual students become more confident, more brave, more excited, and making academic gains in every single area. We are so proud of our students. We're proud of the work that we've done, and we look forward to continuing to improve our practice in the future.
So in the end, we always like to come back to the why. Why are we doing this? Why do we take on and do these things that are a heavy lift? And it's because these kids deserve our best. We know that their future success depends on us giving our all every day, and we are in a constant state of improvement because we have kids who have, the needs, and they all are always changing. And so we're always looking to improve their experience, because they deserve everything that we have. Any questions?
Excellent presentation. I apologize for not being there. But you really, this short time frame really filled me in real fast. So, great presentation. Just two quick questions. The WIDA practice test, is that something the state provides, or do you guys come up with it yourself as a practice test, or?
There are state-provided WIDA practice tests, and students are able to take those as well as teachers. It's to help inform our practice. The materials that you saw the students practicing on, some of those were the state-provided tests, but we have several teachers that are creating their own that match the content that they are teaching. And so they're taking a lot of time before and after school and collaborating with each other to create these experiences for the kids so they can be successful. And the first time they have to speak into a microphone for a test isn't the day they're being tested by the state. Yeah.
So it's, the practice test is pretty close to the real thing.
It is,
It is,
yes.
okay,
And they're tested in all of the main subject domains. There's math, social studies, science, reading, writing, speaking and listening are part of it. So it's pretty comprehensive what they're asked to do.
Okay. And then the other comment I had, the feedback, Ms. Fish, you were talking about, I really like that concept. As a business owner, I like to be boots on the ground, I call it, or in the field, in the trenches. So you really, the more eyes, the better, is how I also look at it, and different set of eyes. And as long as the end results, is what everybody's after. So you're not feeling like you're being watched by your boss, but you're looking for that feedback. So I want to commend you on that. I love that idea, the feedback and in the classrooms, because I think you just little things sometimes that can make a big difference. Really, really helpful. So no, nice presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a huge part for me being new, and not knowing the staff, not knowing the kids. Our focus, of course, is the instruction and what's happening in the classroom with learning. But beyond that, it's been that relationship building with, like I said, the staff and the kids as well, so that when we do have to have those hard conversations, the groundwork has already been laid, and we have that respectful relationship, and it's been a great experience.
Well, I appreciate the presentation and for having us. It's always like such a joy to go to Scootney. My girls have received such a great education, not just academically, but emotionally, just in all ways that make a well-rounded kid they have received at Scootney. So I really appreciate that, and all of the effort you guys are going to, and dumbing it down for the board a little bit so that we can understand all of the hard work that you're putting in. I really appreciate it. So thank you, and thank you for having us.
All the things you said in the presentation reminded me of being with the staff there. When you get in front of a group of people and you say, tell us what's good and what's bad, you don't know what way it's going to go. But with this group of teachers, everything they brought up was student focused, just like you said. Even the complaints they brought up were, we don't like this because it gets in the way of helping the students. And so I really appreciated that about being there. And also I saw Lisa Taylor yesterday. She told me she was really nervous about people seeing this video, but she did great. So it was good.
I really appreciated the visit and what you're doing at Scootney this year. I hope, especially when we were making our rounds during the PLC, and I hope we didn't make the groups feel too uncomfortable kind of sitting in there and watching them do it. But it's really nice for the board to understand and see what they're doing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great.
The one thing that after you left, they all came. What did they think? I said they think you're fabulous, because you are.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So for me, I apologize I wasn't able to make it, but I will. I've made it a deal to try to visit every school and know that here in the couple coming weeks, I will make that up. So be aware, you'll have to take one of me around, but thank you.
We would be happy to. We're always excited to talk about the work. So, yeah, thank you.
Did you have anything to comment on?
No, appreciate the work and the presentation this evening. Thanks.
All right. Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you. We'll go on to policy review. We have 3 policies there for the first reading. Again, remind you to take a look at those if you get a chance, and if there's any comments or questions about them, please get back, because they will be on the next on the next meeting for the vote. Now, we will go on to public comment. I have 2 requests for public comment. I'll just pull them up here. The first one is Jake Mendez. Okay. Then we will go to Gretchen Durpal.
I'll take this out so it won't fall. Maybe. I need my reading glasses, sorry. Good evening. My name is Gretchen Durpo. I teach art at Hiawatha. I'm in my 21st year of teaching art, 18th year in Othello teaching art. I have my master's degree in fine art and my national boards in art for the past 13 years. I wanted to share some data about why art is so important for students and their education. First, I want to point out that the cut to art in all 4 elementary schools next year affects more than 2,000 students. Art has become a focus for many researchers lately because we inherently know its value, but the data and research have been slow to show it. The benefits to having art in the elementary schools far outweigh the costs. It increases attendance and parent participation, which is a focus for our schools and district. Washington State established visual performing arts as a core curriculum and an essential part of basic education. Washington State has 2 mandatory art credits to graduate high school. Beginning next year, kids will not have visual arts until 7th grade when they are trying to fit in, uncomfortable socially, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Art reduces adverse physiological and psychological traumas while creating resilient, hopeful students who can work through challenging times. Trauma is defined by an intense event that threatens or causes harm to his or her well-being. 1 out of 4 children will experience trauma by age 16. That's 500 of our elementary kids. Art heals students by helping them de-stress and gives them tools to deal with their emotional upset, depression, anxiety, behavioral changes, and other adverse reactions to trauma. If students don't have a way to help work through trauma, it may interfere with their ability to learn or their daily life. Art connects all subjects in concrete ways. Art instantly creates value for students and they see their progress. They learn that their differences are what makes them special and they add value to our community and they know that they belong. Art is a language that everyone speaks. Language learners are able to be successful no matter where they are in their learning. Art enhances student voice, validation, and self-esteem. It develops independence, collaboration, and grit. They learn that making mistakes helps us learn. Art increases academic achievement in all subjects. It develops and exercises higher order thinking skills such as analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and creative problem solving. And it provides a means for all students to learn. It reflects the student's heritage and culture. PBIS is a program that we have in our schools, and it's a positive behavior program. They recommend using art to reflect students' interests, cultures, and diversity to create a sense of belonging and investment so that behavioral discipline will be reduced. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Now we'll go on to Jake Mendez.
Hello, I'm Jake Mendez Jr. I'm a civil rights activist and an ACLU of Washington member. Over the past few board meetings, I've noticed the LGBTQ plus history was in part of the curriculum now in Washington State of Senate Bill 5462. And it wasn't much elaborated on what it was during the school board meetings. Just a short, brief summary from Dr. Perez. But I just want to come here in support of it from a student's perspective. Just a disclosure, I'm not a parent. But I fully respect those that that choose to pull their students out, which I fully respect. I have no animosity or grudge against that. That's their personal choice as parents, and I fully respect either side. And just to give a brief description, a contribution to GAY in Washington deserves recognition, and importantly, students diverse to see themselves in their schoolwork, according to Seattle Times. And from my perspective, as someone who's part of the LGBTQ community myself, I just want to say that I fully support it. And, you know, I understand that this is going to be opening in diverse schools and students when it comes to teaching. And I like to see that in our schools. I like to see diversity when it comes to parents having their students at schools, so this way they could thrive. They can be teachers, doctors, lawyers, and whatnot. Because over hundreds of years, those who were silent, we had to study heterosexual slave owners' history as part of our curriculum for many years. Think about that. So, we're way beyond the black and white fountains. We're far beyond the ding-dong, Ramalanga ding days, to now we're here at the diversity of seeing themselves within our textbooks, within their libraries. They could see from their perspective that we have thrived and we are going to thrive. I hope someday, within my lifetime, I could see someone who's transgendered, non-binary, sit at this board. Someday, one day. It may not be soon, it may not be soon, it may not be now, within the next 5, 10, 20 years. Who knows? But we're getting there. Slowly but surely. I guarantee that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. With that, we will go to upcoming events. We've got quite a bit there on the calendar for May coming up. May 6th to the 10th, Certified Appreciation Week. May 6th, also the AVID Awards Banquet Night. May 7th would be the Scholarship Night. Then our regular board meeting on the 13th. We have the board retreat on May 16th. Have we got a location for that yet?
We do not.
Okay. Then May 21st, the pre-K site visit. And then our last meeting in June on May 28th. Is there anything else to add to that?
I know the high school's doing senior presentations tonight and tomorrow night, and that a few of the board members are planning on attending tomorrow.
Okay.
Do we need to have a notification of a quorum if there's more than 2 of us that will be at senior night tomorrow night? No? Okay.
They'll be in different rooms, like watching presentations and stuff, so.
Perfect.
I think the only one that I see there would be possibly the AVID and Scholarship Night. Okay. If no more to add to that, we will go on to the board self-assessment of the meeting.
I appreciated the student recognition in all parts. The young man with his courageous action at Ludokaga, and then also the robotics team coming in here and telling us about their exciting news and moving forward with that.
I agree with the robotics team being in here too. It was very nice to see that and being invited to the nationals to represent Othello and MMS.
Yes, the robotics, because I just was informed 2 days ago about the fundraiser, so it was really nice to get to hear them in person and see exactly what it's about, other than just kind of hearing that they were looking for a fundraiser but to know why and stuff. So I hope they achieve their goal. Sounds like they're halfway there, so a few more things, and I think they'll get what they need. So, yeah, an excellent Scootney Springs presentation. Really enjoyed it.
I really appreciated the people here for public comment tonight. It's always a positive thing to hear from our community as much as we can.
And I appreciate the support here for him too tonight and all the guests that we had here tonight. It's nice to see a full house. Any more comment for the self-assessment?
Everyone was on time today. So.
Yep.
Okay, seeing no more comment, then the board will recess into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss the performance of a public employee. No action will be taken following the executive session. We'll meet back in Pete's office in 3 minutes.